Welcome to the class, students. Today we will discuss a very typical thing, that is regarding the vectors of RNA technology or gene cloning. What exactly are the vectors? These vectors are carriers of the desired gene, okay, and different types of vectors are available, and the mostly used compatible vector for gene cloning are the plasmids. Okay, so let's discuss about different types of vectors, then about the plasmids, features of plasmids, and the different informations regarding the plasmid, and we will discuss by taking the example of the PBR 322 plasmid. Okay, so let's have a look. See, vectors, plasmids, structure and features we will discuss. Okay, so vectors, what are the vectors and what are the types of vectors? See, vectors are just, I have told you, maybe the different types of carriers. They may be the plasmids, cosmids, BAC, that is bacterial artificial chromosome, or YAC, that is yeast artificial chromosome. So different types of vectors are there, carriers are there which carry the desired gene. These are ligated with the desired gene to form the recombinant plasmid or recombinant vector, and these recombinant vectors, they are transformed into different cells as per the requirement. Okay, so out of all these types of vectors, plasmids are mostly suitable for gene cloning or RNA technology, because some of the important features of plasmids are there which are very much beneficial, and these are also very use friendly. Okay, and these plasmids, what are the features of the plasmid to be the best vector to be utilized in RNA technology or gene cloning? See, supposed to be the first point of plasmid. What exactly are the plasmids? What are the plasmids? See here, vectors, types we have discussed. Then what are the plasmids? The plasmids, where these plasmids are found and what is the role of these plasmids, where they are found and how they are extracted, all these things. See, plasmids are nothing but extra chromosomal circular DNA molecules present inside the bacteria having self-replicating ability. Okay, so these plasmids, these are extra chromosomal. These are extra chromosomal, means beyond the nucleoid of the bacteria. Bacteria, it is having its chromosomal DNA, that is called nucleoid, means except the nucleoid, many more plasmids. These are circular double-stranded DNA molecules present inside the bacteria having the self-replicating ability. Means if the bacteria is not also dividing, then also the plasmid can increase the copy number. The plasmid can multiply itself inside the single bacterial cell, and when the bacteria divides, then to the progeny also these plasmids, they pass. Okay, and second point is there, the plasmids are easy to extract from the bacteria. They are easily can be extracted from the bacteria. They are easily can be cleaved by using any of the restriction endonucleases, and these plasmids are easily ligated to the desired gene to form the recombinant plasmid. Okay, and they can be also easily transformed or transferred into the host cell or the bacteria from which they are extracted. So these are the features of the plasmid to be the best suitable vector for gene cloning. Okay, and see, why the plasmids, they act as the most suitable vector, we have discussed. Then what is the first plasmid used in gene cloning? And that must be the natural occurring plasmid. Nowadays we are using the constructed plasmids. This means the plasmids, these are constructed in the laboratory condition. They are made suitable. They are having the recombinant, means they are having the restriction endonuclease sites, recognition sites of many more restriction endonucleases. They are having also selectable antibiotic resistant markers. These are constructed plasmids. But which one is the first naturally used plasmid which was used for gene cloning first time? See, first natural plasmid for gene cloning, it was PSC101. P represents the plasmid. SC, this SC is for Stanley Cohen. Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer, these two scientists, they first extracted this PSC101, this plasmid, from the bacteria Salmonella typhimurium, and this plasmid was linearized by using the restriction endonuclease, and then this plasmid was ligated with any of the antibiotic resistant gene, and it was made recombinant plasmid, and now this recombinant plasmid was transferred or transformed into E. coli cells. So this was the first gene cloning experiment. For that, Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer, they got the patents also. Okay, so this was the first naturally used plasmid for gene cloning. Then we'll discuss about the features of plasmid, and we'll give another example of the constructed plasmid which is mostly used nowadays for gene cloning procedure. Okay, see, First artificial constructed plasmid is PBr322. The structure I have drawn here, and I will also describe all the features of this PBr322 and about its discovery, about its functions, about its features we will discuss in a very details. Come to the second point, that is features of plasmid. What are the features of a normal plasmid so that it will be suitable to be used in the gene cloning or RNA technology procedure? First one, the plasmids should have origin of replication or oricite. What is the origin of replication? As just we have discussed that plasmids are having self-replicating ability. So there must be an origin of replication site from which the replication of the plasmid will automatically start. Because they do not depend upon the chromosomal DNA of the bacteria or the nucleus of the bacteria for their own multiplication, so there must be the origin of replication in the plasmids. Okay, and this is the oricite from which the replication of the plasmid starts to increase the copy number, the number of plasmids inside the bacteria. Okay. Second, suitable antibiotic resistant markers. These plasmids, they must be having at least one suitable antibiotic resistant marker gene. What is the need of this marker gene? This antibiotic resistant marker gene, if in that region a particular recognition site of a particular restriction endonuclease is there, and that antibiotic resistant marker gene, it is cleaved and desired gene, it is inserted to make the recombinant plasmid, then such type of recombinant plasmid having bacteria can be easily isolated from the non-recombinant bacteria. Another thing, after having the plasmids with antibiotic resistant marker genes, the bacteria becomes resistant to that particular antibiotic. So easily this type of bacteria can be screened out from the non-recombinant and non-transformed bacteria. So this presence of this antibiotic resistant marker gene, it is very much useful just for screening of the transformed recombinant bacteria from the non-transformed bacteria. And naturally the E. coli cell, which is mostly used in the gene cloning procedure as host bacteria for multiplication of all these recombinant plasmids, these normal E. coli cells, they are not resistant to any of the antibiotics. But if the plasmid having a resistant gene, means antibiotic resistant gene, it is transformed into the E. coli cell, then that bacteria becomes resistant to that particular antibiotic, and such type of bacteria, this transformed bacteria, can be screened out, can be isolated from the non-transformed bacteria by making poison agar plates. In last class we have just discussed about the poison agar plates. Regarding the antibiotic resistant marker present in the plasmid, we can make poisonous agar plates, means agar, it is the nutrient medium for the growth of the bacteria, and it is added with the particular antibiotic which is there, antibiotic resistant marker gene in the plasmid. Regarding that, we have to use the antibiotic so that we can remove out, we can separate out, we can isolate the transformed bacteria from the non-transformed bacteria. Okay. Then third one, cloning sites. These plasmids, maybe different types of plasmids are available, and mostly used plasmids are also PUC groups, that means plasmids made in the University of California. PUC 18, PUC 19, these are also used in the gene cloning procedure. But nowadays this constructed plasmid PBr322, it is very suitable and very user friendly to be used in the gene cloning procedure. Okay, so cloning sites, the third one, what is the cloning site? Cloning site means what? These plasmids must be having the recognition sequences of particular the restriction endonucleases, so that by using a particular restriction endonuclease, this plasmid can be linearized. The desired gene can be ligated with help of the enzyme ligase to make the recombinant plasmid, and that recombinant plasmid will be transformed into the bacteria or the host cells. Okay. So, and another is multiple cloning site, MCS. Multiple cloning site, this multiple cloning site, it contains the same cloning site. Multiple cloning site, it contains many more recognition sequences of many more different recognition endonucleases. So depending upon our need, we can utilize any of the restriction endonuclease to linearize the plasmid, so that we can ligate it with the desired gene. Okay, so these are the needs of the or features of the plasmid, features or characteristics of the plasmid to be there, so that it will be used in the gene cloning procedure. Okay, it must be having origin of replication. It must be having suitable antibiotic resistant markers, so that easily the transformed bacteria can be screened out from the non-transformed, and cloning sites must be there, and multiple cloning sites must be there. Okay, so these are the features of the plasmid. Okay, then come to the PBR 322. This is the, just I have told you, this is the first artificial constructed plasmid, and it was also constructed by or created by Herbert Boyer in the year 1977 at the University of California. Okay, and under Herbert Boyer, two scientists, two research scholars, they were working for the construction of this particular plasmid, and according to their names, this plasmid, it is named. P stands for plasmid, B stands for Bolivar, and R stands for Rodriguez. Bolivar and Rodriguez, these two are the research scholars who has constructed this plasmid under the guidance of Herbert Boyer. Okay, and as for the name, this is PBR, and 322 is the number of plasmid. They have made different plasmids, and this is just the number, just to separate out this plasmid from the others. 322 is the number. Okay, so let's discuss in details about the PBR 322, as this is the constructed plasmid, means it has been constructed in the laboratory condition, it is not naturally available. Okay, this PBR 322 plasmid, it is having two different antibiotic resistant marker genes. One is the ampicillin resistant marker, another is the tetracycline resistant marker. Okay, ampicillin, tetracycline, chloramphenicol, kanamycin, all these are the antibiotic resistant marker genes present in the plasmid, so that the transformed bacteria with this type of plasmid will be resistant to that particular antibiotics. Okay, so here in PBR 322, two different antibiotic resistant marker genes are there, and in the ampicillin region, two different recognition sites of two different restriction endonucleases are there. In the ampicillin site, it is having the recognition sites for the restriction endonuclease PST1 and PVU1. Okay, and here in the tetracycline resistant gene in the marker, there are also two recognition sites of two restriction endonucleases. One is BAMH1, another is SAL1. Okay, and this is the MCS, multiple cloning site. It is also having EcoR1 recognition site, CLAV1 recognition site, and HIND3 recognition site of all these three restriction endonucleases. Okay, this PBR 322, these are the mostly used restriction endonucleases what I have shown here, but more than 40 restriction sites of recognition and restriction sites of restriction endonucleases are there in PBR 322. Any of the restriction endonuclease can be used to linearize this particular plasmid and to ligate with the desired gene. Okay, another thing, it is having the origin of replication, and this is the ROP site. What is this ROP site? It is the this site, it codes for the protein which helps for the replication of the plasmid. Okay, this is the protein involved in replication of the plasmid, and this ROP site, it maintains the copy number of the plasmid. Means the copy number of the plasmid is more inside the bacteria. High copy number plasmids are generally used in case of gene cloning procedure, because the gene of interest is ligated in the plasmid, in the recombinant plasmid now, and the recombinant plasmid, as it will multiply inside the host cell, then we will be more and more beneficial. Okay, so the copy number of the plasmid, it is maintained, it is increased by this ROP site. That is it is producing one protein which is responsible for replication of the plasmid more and more inside the bacterial cell. Okay, so this is about the PBR 322. It is having 4361 base pair in length. It is the length of this plasmid. It is constructed, it is having more than 40 restriction sites of different restriction endonucleases, and any of the restriction endonucleases can cut or linearize this plasmid, and it is having two antibiotic resistant markers. Supposed to be we are using PVU1 restriction endonuclease. Restriction endonuclease means it will cut the plasmid at that particular site. Then such type of restriction endonuclease, if you are using and we are inserting the desired gene here, automatically the desired gene will be ligated there in the cut site or linearized site of the plasmid. So such type of plasmids having the bacteria, the transformed bacteria after having this type of recombinant plasmids will be tetracycline resistant, but they are ampicillin sensitive, because the ampicillin gene, it is disrupted, because this recognition site PVU1, it is there in the ampicillin resistant marker gene sequence, in between that only. Okay, so if we are using PVU1 and we have inserted the desired gene here, then such type of plasmid, the recombinant plasmid, will be intaken by the bacteria during transformation, and such transformed bacteria will be tetracycline resistant but ampicillin sensitive, because the ampicillin gene is not intact, it is disrupted due to the insertion of the desired gene. So this is called insertional inactivation also. Okay, so by insertional inactivation we can make the poisonous agar plate of tetracycline, so that the transformed bacteria having the recombinant plasmid will be what, resistant to tetracycline, not to ampicillin. So we can easily screen out the what, transformed bacteria, recombinant transformed bacteria from the non-recombinant transformed bacteria also. Okay, so this is very much helpful as it is having two different what, antibiotic resistant marker genes. Okay, so this is all about PBR 322, and let's discuss about vectors for cloning genes in plants and animals. This is, see, in gene cloning mostly the usable what, host are the E. bacteria which are human friendly, and for bacteria for gene cloning into the bacteria, the plasmids are the most suitable vectors. But if the host is any of the plant or host is any of the animal, then what type of vectors are used? And we know that nowadays many of the plants, they are what, means they transgenic plants they are made. How these transgenic plants are created, and how the gene, desired gene, can be inserted into the plants. See, in the embryonic stage only the plants can be transformed with any of the desired gene to be disease resistant or pest resistant, or for the high productivity or drought resistant. Different genes can be inserted into the plants also. So how it is done? Mostly what is there in plants, Agrobacterium tumefaciens is the bacteria which can infect the plants. Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria, it is having a plasmid called TI plasmid. This TI plasmid is tumor inducing plasmid. This plasmid, it is there in the Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria, and it induces tumor in the plants. But such type of Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria having the TI plasmid, they are tumor inducing. But if the TI plasmid can be extracted, it can be easily extracted from the Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria. And this TI plasmid is nowadays, it is modified. The tumor inducing gene, it is replaced with any of the disease resistant gene or pest resistant gene or insect resistant gene or any of the drought resistant gene, TI gene or tDNA, which is called present in the TI plasmid. It is replaced with any of the desired gene, and then the TI plasmid, it is again transformed into Agrobacterium tumefaciens, and the Agrobacterium tumefaciens can infect the plants as usual. And now this TI gene, it is not there, it is replaced with the desired gene. Now this desired gene automatically it will what, enter into the plant cells and it will be expressed. Okay, so by using the Agrobacterium tumefaciens with TI plasmid, this Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria, it is having the TI plasmid. The TI gene is replaced with any of the desired gene and is transformed to Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Now this bacteria, Agrobacterium tumefaciens transformed bacteria, it will infect the normal plant cells and automatically the desired gene will be inserted into the plant tissue. Example, we can also insert chrysin. What is chrysin? This chrysin is, it is extracted from the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria. This Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria, it is also known as BT, and BT corn, BT cotton, all these are the transgenic plants now these are made. Okay, so by just extracting this chrysin from Bacillus thuringiensis, this chrysin, it can replace the TI gene or tDNA, TI gene or tDNA of the TI plasmid, and that TI plasmid will be transformed into what, Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Now this Agrobacterium tumefaciens, it is having the TI plasmid with chrysin, means it is having the what, recombinant plasmid, and this recombinant plasmid having Agrobacterium can infect the plant cells, so that the chrysin can what, can be inserted into the plant tissue, can be inserted into the plant cells, and the chrysin is responsible for insect and pest resistant. Okay, it is responsible for insect and pest resistance. Okay, so we can induce insect and pest resistance in case of plants by inserting this chrysin, by ligating this chrysin to the TI plasmid, replacing the tDNA or TI gene. Okay, so this is one of the procedure. By using the Agrobacterium tumefaciens TI plasmid vector, the plants can be transformed. Okay, then come to the animal side. What is there? How can we insert any of the desired gene into the animals? For therapeutic purposes, different therapeutic genes can be ligated with the vectors, and such vectors can be also these vectors can be also transformed, means into the animal cells. See what is there? Retroviruses mostly are used as vectors to transfer the desired gene into the animal cells. And these retroviruses, these are disarmed. What is disarmed means? See, these retroviruses, they must be what? Disease causing or tumor causing or cancer causing retroviruses, or they must be also infecting the normal cells. This type of infectious genes are replaced by the desired therapeutic gene. And such type of retroviruses, they are just manipulated, means this genome, the DNA of the retroviruses is manipulated, sorry, the RNA of the retroviruses is manipulated, but not the capsid, not the coat protein, okay. But the capsid or coat protein of the viruses, they remain as usual, and this capsid or coat protein will be received by the receptors present in our body, and automatically such retroviruses can cause infection to us. And but these retroviruses, they are having the therapeutic gene. In the disease causing or the cancer causing or tumor causing genes of the retroviruses are replaced with the therapeutic gene, and the therapeutic gene will be what? Will be inserted, will be transformed into the normal animal cells, and now these animal cells, these cultured animal cells, can be transferred to the patient's body, so that the therapeutic gene can express and the disease can be recovered out, okay. So this is the what? Methods or vectors for cloning genes in plants and animals. For plants, mostly Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria with TI plasmid, tDNA or T gene, tumor inducing gene, it is replaced with any of the disease resistant, pest resistant or different types of desired gene, and this TI plasmid, recombinant TI plasmid, it is transformed into Agrobacterium tumefaciens and inserted into plant cells. Similarly, in case of animals, retroviruses are disarmed, and these are ligated with the desired genes, desired therapeutic genes, and they also can transfer the desired gene into the animal cell by transduction method, okay. So this is all about the different types of vectors used for gene cloning, and especially we have discussed about the plasmid, the naturally first used plasmid and the first artificial constructed plasmid. I have given the example, okay. So thank you for watching, and share and subscribe my channel for the upcoming videos. Thank you.